Greetings, my friends. Jason here. I am joined by my lovely wife, Christina,
Hi, everyone.
and we wanted to talk a little bit about relationships tonight. It's been kind of funny. We've had a couple people reach out to us over the last year or so and just ask us about this wonderful relationship that we have. And every time that happens, I have to laugh because I'm reminded of that meme on Facebook that says, may your life be as good as you pretend it is on Facebook, kind of a thing. And, so it's kind of funny that people on the outside look at our relationship and think, oh, you guys have everything figured out. And in some ways we do, and in a lot of ways we don't. So I thought we'd just talk a little bit about that and kind of share some of the techniques that we've used to build this relationship. I do believe we have a good relationship. Obviously I want to keep working toward making it better over the years. And so we've been together now since 2009. We met in 2009 at a leadership conference. Some of you guys were probably there. And so I thought we'd just start at the beginning and tell you how this whole thing took place. So would you like to start?
Yeah, he entered the room chomping on a piece of gum, and I thought, who's that loudmouth American guy? He looks totally crazy. I don't like him. And then, of course, over the course of the week, I had a little crush on him.
So you got a bad case of the Jasons.
And so we became friends afterwards. I think it was about 75 days of texting and talking on the phone.
Lots of texting.
Until I finally said, I gotta go down to Phoenix and see what this guy's all about. And then that was it. I came here and he's sort of swept me off my feet, and we started our then long distance relationship.
Absolutely. And then, but before you got into that, some of the people that I've been talking to, they're like, I can't find anyone. I can't, blah, 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 blah. You had said that one of your goals was to find a certain type of person. So can you talk a little bit about, what it is that you did to find qualities in me that you were looking for?
I think what I was doing at the time was a lot of personal development, and someone had recommended that I write down the 25 qualities I want in a man. And so I did that, put it in my wallet, and it was funny because I kind of forgot about it, and we had been together for, I don't know, over a year, and I was like, oh my God, I got to pull this little sheet out. I still have it at home, and read out all the qualities, and literally all the qualities that I had written down were in you. So,
except for one, right? Wasn't I missing one or something?
Well, no, I forgot to put down that he likes to drink coffee, and
oh yeah, that's right. I hate coffee. Fucking hate coffee.
And so we don't drink coffee together, and
no, I never will.
I gotta drink coffee with my girlfriends.
Yeah, and I did something similar. I had come out of a relationship, and I wrote down basically three things. I wanted smart, brunette with light eyes, and so I had gone on a couple of dates. My list wasn't as detailed as hers. I probably could have done a better job of that. But it was funny, once I wrote down those qualities I was looking for, I started seeing those qualities in people. Again, the brain and its reticular activating system, if you put something on the forefront of your mind, it'll start showing it to you. And so I had met 2 or 3 women, and Christina fit the bill perfectly and was the best pick of the bunch. And so, like she said, she's Canadian, and so she came down and spent some time with me. And we sort of started, seeing each other seriously from that point. And so what was it, like a year or 2 years, I guess, before we got married, almost 2 years, right?
Yeah, it was June, it was April we met, June when I came down. And then it was in October where we officially
became exclusive.
Started going steady.
And that was a whole nother process. So we tell this to people and they think we're crazy, but it seems that in today's world, what a lot of people do is they design their relationship around the marriage. I want to get married. Well, that shouldn't be a goal in your relationship. That's just part of your relationship if that's what you want to do. The goal in your relationship should be, to better one another, to, build a financial dynasty, to raise, good kids, whatever those things that you want to create and you want your life to be, that's what your relationship goals should be about. Caring for one another, making one another that number one person in each other's lives. those are goals. Getting married is not a goal. It's just a thing that you do, you know, and it's such a small part of the relationship. So one of the things that we learned early on was that we wanted to design the relationship before going into it exclusively. So I tell this to people all the time. We actually sat down and we created a relationship agreement. And in that agreement, it spells out what she's looking for. She wrote that part, and then I wrote down the part about the things that I'm looking for, right? And I have this. It's in my filing cabinet in there, and it has both of our signatures on it. And we can revisit it at any time. But what it does is it gives us a baseline.
Yeah.
And the day that we signed that, we had come back from another conference. The day that we signed that was the day that we officially became exclusive. And it's been that way ever since.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people get together initially because of a lot of common interests. And some, I think that's great. However, it's not enough to sustain for the long term. It's really important to ensure we have the right similar values, core values. And I think that a lot of the leadership training we did has given us a great foundation for what our core values are, right? Being in a win-win relationship, keeping our word with each other. I see, lots of people ask me, and how do you do it? You're apart, and when are you going to have kids? When are you going to do this? When are you going to do that? And they ask me these questions, and sometimes I internally battle with that because I think, well, is that really what I want, or am I trying to conform to what everyone's asking me? And I have to ground myself and get myself to think, well, what is it that I want? I don't actually want that, ideal, regular, mediocre, status quo type of relationship. What we have is what we have. And I think sometimes when I talk to people, they're unhappy, and it's because they're trying to fit something that's not really what they want. And with the pressures of family and friends, sometimes it's difficult. However, being true to my core values and what we said we wanted to create, like the contract that we had created, keep us on track in the right path.
Yeah, for sure. We fight like cats and dogs, we love like the best lovers, but at the same time, we have that up and down. And what keeps us grounded is the agreement that we made. It's anytime, she steps out of line or I step out of line away from what it is that we say we want to create, we can come back to that document and say, look, well, you said right here that this is what you would honor in this relationship, in the course of this relationship, right? So there's no question about who said what, and you know how humans can be, right? We're very monkey-like when it comes to remembering certain things, right? But at the end of the day, we have that as a baseline document, right? And one of the things that, Christina expects from me is flowers every week, for example, right? And I've fallen short on that many, many times, but I've bought a lot more flowers than I would have otherwise had that not been something that she said she wanted, right? And in the document, we talk about, little things like that. It can be anything you want it to be. It doesn't have to look a certain way. But you do have to have a baseline for what it is you want to create. So in that document, we talk about how we want to live financially, how we should look physically, how we care for one another, how we resolve arguments, those sorts of things, And I think I see so many people who, when the going gets a little bit tough, it's not even really tough, but it's a little bit tough. Like there's a disagreement or there's a spot in a relationship where everything isn't hunky-dory, and they think that, the shit hit the fan and the ship's going down. And that's not reality. You can't be with someone who you can't disagree with and have arguments with and resolve. That's not life. That's not how the real world works, right? So living life is up and down. You can't have the good or the bad without the other. They're complementary, and they help you know what feels good and what works good for you, what works well for you, right? So is what I'm doing effective? Is what I'm doing ineffective, right? Is what I'm doing effective? Is what I'm doing ineffective? And in the relationship piece, as much as we get along, we argue every bit as much. She's Italian, I'm Southern, we're both stubborn, we're both hard-headed, but at the end of the day, it comes down to, grabbing one another and giving that hug and just saying, look, whatever it is we're fighting about isn't worth, sacrificing our relationship over. And I see so many people just piss relationships away over little bitty things, little things. At least in my mind, it would be little things. I know I'm making a judgment there. But you have to expect rough times, and you have to have a plan for how you're going to deal with those. Today, it's so easy to split up. It is so easy to spend time apart from someone that I think we take for granted how good it is when it's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think what I'm working on more recently, and I had read an article about relationships.
Uh-oh.
And
I'm in trouble.
Is being kind and generous.
Mm-hmm.
So I challenge myself to do that. And when I think about kindness, I think about the words and how important words are when we use them with each other. So, I think that we've come a long way with how we have a disagreement or an argument today than when we first started.
Yeah, for sure.
We've remember that one, I can't remember what we were arguing about. Anyways, I was like, that went pretty well. You said so too. You thought, well, that wasn't as hard as it has been in the past. We just, we had a conversation. I agreed with, and I was level-headed, and I think you were too. and it's moments like that, right? We've built, we've grown, we've changed, and having one of our core values is to always grow and develop and change together, and continue to practice the work, the personal development work and the leadership work, and look for ways to grow. And that's really helping us
for sure
evolve as a couple.
Yeah, and this one for the guys, specifically, Christina is a fantastic helpmeet. Like, she helps me meet all the goals that we're setting and that we want to achieve. She breathes life into me when she says certain things to me, and I've told her this a couple of times. Like, when you say, you're a powerful man, and you're going to go into the world and do great things today. When she says things like that to me, it breathes life into what I want to do. And I would challenge you, especially you guys, this isn't, it's not that it's not important for women, but it's very different for women. So as guys, you need a woman who will breathe that life into what it is you want to create, so that you guys are working together. And obviously, if she's on the same team and you're working together, pulling in the right direction, and you have roles that you fulfill for one another, you're going to be much, much more successful. And that doesn't mean that Christina doesn't have her life. She certainly does, and she has things that she does that I have no interest in doing, but I support her in doing, right? And then when we come together, we have relationship goals, and then of course I have my own goals. But you have to have, as a man, as male energy, if you're in a same-sex relationship, if you're the male energy, you have to have someone in your life who's helping you breathe life into what it is you want to create. Maybe you could talk about what the ladies really need, feminine energy.
Just being supported, and we call it, hold the bucket, because a lot of the times I just have to talk things out. And so I ask him, I say, this is one of those times when you got to hold the bucket. And we learned this one from Alison Armstrong. And I don't need him to solve my problems. I just want to talk. And that's how a lot of us women, get through things and process things, by talking about it. And sometimes men just want to solve the problem, and it's very black and white, and just listen. I think, my tip to men is just listen, and
tell them the way you tell me.
Hold the bucket.
Shut the fuck up.
I didn't say that. Only when I'm really mad.
Right.
Only when I'm really heated.
Yeah.
It's part of the Italian thing.
For sure. Well, I mean, we've talked about this for probably longer than we should, and we could talk about this for probably hours, but the gist of this conversation is make a list of what you want in a partner. If that relationship goes serious and you want to make it serious, design, write down, create an agreement with this person, and enter into that relationship with them on a specific contract. agreement, whatever you want to call it. This is what we're agreeing to do for one another. This is what we're agreeing to build together. Otherwise, why are you together? And if she's tearing me down or I'm tearing her down, what the fuck are we doing together? There's no need for us to be together. So we come together to create something. The document spells out what that something is. And then you got to figure out a way to resolve your differences, because you're going to have them. I don't care who it is, what kind of relationship you're in. It's never going to be perfect all the time. And if it is, you're lying. I'm just going to tell you straight up. If you're in a relationship and there's never anything wrong, you are lying, or the person in your relationship is lying. Because at the end of the day, you do not always agree with people, and you do not always come to them with the same sort of mindset that they come with. So if there's no friction, there's a problem in there. There's going to be some at some point. Mm-hmm. So I would just challenge you to do those few things. And then lastly, I would just say be brutally honest. And maybe we'll save this for another video. But, I'm very honest with her. I'm very brutally honest with her. And it is not something she's always receptive to. Likewise, when she's brutally honest with me, it's not something I'm always receptive to. But at the end of the day, as long as we know that we're building towards something and we know how to resolve conflict, the honesty is what brings us closer together. So I think we'll probably just leave it there. And
I'll just add, remember, be kind, be generous, and be conscious of the words you're using.
Yes, that's the lesson that she's teaching me. And she's saying that right now on video so that I will remember that she's teaching me that. Yes. Thank you. So I hope you guys are doing well, and get out there, write down your lists, make agreement with someone, and go build a life. Don't overcomplicate it. Find the person, go build a life, and let us know if you found this valuable, and let us know if you find someone using these techniques, or if you employ any of these techniques. I'd love to know the story. Take care, guys. See you next time.
Bye.